Welcome to GWRI 101, The Writer Within, from the Union Institute and University. The title of today's video is Finding the Writer Within. How do you find the writer within you? Does that writer actually exist? Can you really write? Will people want to read what you write? These are the questions going on in many minds right now. Does this professor really know what he's talking about? Let's start with a definition of good writing. Good writing is the process of having ideas, of organizing these ideas, then translating these thoughts into the written word. Let's notice the three parts of that definition. Parts 1, good writing is the process of having ideas, and part 2 of organizing these thoughts are part of the writing process that we do before we actually begin writing. Only the third part, translating these thoughts into the written word, involve the actual writing. We will find in today's video and in this week's unit that there is a process for writing, and one of the most important parts of the process of writing is the idea generation and the organization that goes on before writing actually begins. Good narrative writing is the ability to create mind movies. I use the term mind movies a lot. That's when you create, through your writing, a picture in the head of your reader. You know when pictures start to evolve in your head that you know that that's good writing. If people can visualize what you're saying, they will understand it. If they can feel like you feel, you will have accomplished your task. How do we mine for ideas? Like a gold prospector, you need to be patient and tenacious. First, you must find the spot where the precious metal lies. In writer's terms, you must spend time finding the right topic for your paper. Next, you must dig patiently to unearth all the details for your piece of work. The gold is not always on the surface. Sometimes you need to get on your knees to find it. In this week's lesson, we will talk about the writing process. And for this week's lesson, we're going to talk about 6 different steps of the writing process. The first stage is the idea stage. The second is planning. The third, drafting, the first time that you actually put a pencil onto a paper. The fourth step is the critical review, where you have somebody look at your paper. Step number 5 is revising. You take comments from others and yourself and you make corrections on your paper. And step number 6 is publishing. Each of these stages will have accompanying videos within the unit, and we'll be discussing a lot of those this week. But let's start with talking here about how do you mine for an idea. In this course, you look at the 20 story starters given in Unit 1, because you'll have to select 3 of these as the topics for your papers. Select 3 carefully that means something to you. Select those for which you either have a passion or you have a unique story to share. You just read a motivating story for the beginning of Unit 2, carefully selected for this unit. Take the unique piece of you, the part that is you only. Find that story and use that story as the topic of your papers for this class. Then tell this story to yourself. Say it aloud in your head. Discover all the important details that will make this story meaningful. In your head, organize the story. Develop a theme that directly relates to the story starter. Make this topic the theme of your introduction. Tell the story in parts. Highlight all of the truly important pieces. Eliminate those details that are unimportant. Decide, before you even write, how you're going to end your story. Your concluding paragraph should tie the story to the theme. And then create a web or a doodle sheet or a scratch sheet of paper. Just jot down and record some ideas of how you're going to organize your paper. because this organization, before you actually start writing, will make your writing much easier. Lastly, you will write your first draft. Your first draft will not be perfect, but it will be step 3 of the writing process. You got step 4, 5, and 6 to go. Let's look at the story starters again, because the selection of the topic is the most important part of the writing process. We're going to deal with that in this video this morning. Choose the right topic. Find where the uniqueness inside you sets you apart. Mine your head for details about you and stories that you have to do, that you have to tell about the story starters. Tell a story that no one else has ever told. Story starters very quickly again. See if this week they mean more to you than last week. Last week they were things that you might write about. This week you should start mining them and say, hey, I got a story here. I got a story there. You need 1 this week. You're going to need 3 in total for this course. Number 1, a memorable experience from childhood. Think about any childhood experience that you have, that you may have a story to tell about. The painting stuck inside my heart. What's there in my heart that no one else knows about? I could have danced all night. Prom night, wedding night, anybody's wedding night, disco club, food and memories. So many stories can be told about Thanksgiving traditions, about holiday barbecues, etc. An historical character who I'd like to meet. A lesson I will never forget. That one thing in your life that probably hurt at the time but made a difference. An interesting ancestor. I told you before, one of my ancestors came over on the Mayflower too. When ugly got uglier. Time that you regret something because you just didn't stop soon enough. Regrets. The top of my bucket list. Something that you may want to do in the future. How about when things did not add up, when something happened and you just could not figure it out? Probably even today haven't figured it out. Happy, confused, left without words. Story that you just cannot explain. Hearts, spades, and pinochle, playing games as kids. If I could only be XXX years old. Notice I left 3 blanks there. Could be 100 years old. It doesn't need to be less years than you are now. Figure that one out. Holiday memories, the day the world turned upside down. I wished it had never ended. One of those really good moments in your life that you think back about. Or me. It's only about me. I'm sure there are some bridezillas out there who have some stories to tell about me. It's only about me. In summary, a quality idea is the most important part of a piece of writing. The idea is what separates the adventures of Tom Sawyer from the journeys of Yvonne Yates. I don't know who Yvonne Yates is either, because her idea was not good enough. But a quality idea in itself will not be good enough if it's not organized well. If it's missing an important part, the mind movie will not be created. If it has too many details, it will lose the attention of the reader. Those first 2 stages of the writing process, mining for the idea and planning, are essential. Let's look very quickly at this week's assignments before we finish this video. This week you have 2 forum discussions. Remember, forum discussions should be between 150 and 250 words. You are graded on the quality of your responses. Think about what you're writing and add to it. You also need to respond to 5 other posts in 75 to 150 words. I don't want "I agree with you." I want I agree with you because of this, or did you notice that? In Unit 2, you have a quiz, as in every unit, and you can take this quiz over once. So when you take the quiz once, the computer will allow you to take it over again. You must hit the submit button on the end, and I will take the best of the 2 grades. And this week we have our first paper, 3 pages long, on one of the topics of which we talked about in this video. 4 pieces of advice as we leave. Stay atop your work. There are 2 forums every week. There is a quiz every week, and there's a paper every other week. As long as you stay on task with that and do not fall behind, you will be fine. Email me or call me if necessary. Share your questions and ideas with other classmates in the General Discussions Student Lounge. It's in the very first part of the forums. Make an appointment with the Writing Center for more detailed assistance if you need extra help, or call me and I can give you extra help. Let's have a good and fruitful week.